Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we are working on page 2 of Ephemera Queen. And we've got 2 flaps, and I have to think about this. We're on page 2. Which way do I want it to open? This way. So there's going to be a large flap, and this flap is 8.5 by 6. 8.5 by 6. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 8.5 inch side. So it's going to go across the span. It's going to be centered. And then we've got a mat that's going to go right on top of that. And it is 6.5 by 6. 6.5 by 6. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. So when you're finished, you've got a 6-inch square panel. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to center both of these. And so I'm going to start by locating the center point on the pocket page and then the center point on the flap. And we'll install it. And I'm just going to use a little pencil to do that. So I'm going to put a dot here at 4 inches. And then this is 6 inches, so the center line will be 3. And there you go. And that makes it very easy to locate on the edge of the page. And I am installing this, and I have to think again. That's page 1. I'm trying to make sure I've got my orientation correct. Page 1, page 2. Okay. The large flap, the long flap is going to be installed on the left-hand side. Sorry, I was just reconfirming that. I had just done page 1. I wanted to make sure I was putting it in right side up because I haven't decorated it yet. Okay. Okay, there it is, centered from top to bottom, installed on the left-hand side. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to find our center line on the pocket page, and then our center line on the flap, and go ahead and install that. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I almost messed up. It's actually going to get installed on top of this flap. So we're going to install the second flap here. Oof, I almost messed up. So this one is actually going to get centered here. So I'm going to look for the center point here and the center point here, and I'm going to line those up. It's going to be offset about 2 inches, or maybe not 2 inches. It's an inch. Okay. So instead of trying to figure out an inch on either side, I'm just going to find the center point. And I've already got it marked. Or do I? Double check that that's at 4. Just putting a little pencil mark there, and now I'm going to find the center line, and that's after you tuck in your hinge. You don't want to find the center here. You want to find the center on the finished panel, which should be at 3 because it should be a 6-inch square. Okay. Now I'm just going to line my 2 dots up, and that should give us our location. Okay, looks good. Okay. I'm actually going to turn the whole thing around so that that dot is closer to my eye. Now the way we want this to open is like an accordion. So it's going to open like this. So I want the hinge toward the open side of this flap. And in a minute, when I get it installed, I'll open it and close it for you so you can see what I'm talking about if it's not clear yet. Okay, so now that's in. And that looks nice and straight. Okay, so the way the page is going to open, it's going to open to the right and then to the left. So you're going to have something that looks like this when you're finished, okay? Now we need to add some magnets. Two of my magnets are stuck together. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna need a magnet to hold this flap and a magnet to hold this flap. So it's gonna go back and forth. And then we'll need a magnet on both sides here. I'm not sure. I might kind of, once I get the other page decorated, I might actually add a pocket here. I haven't decided. I want to see how bulky it is as I move along. But for now, if I do add a pocket, it's likely to be here in a tuck spot like so. So I think it's pretty safe to say we can go ahead and add a magnet to the outside edge. And worst case, we move it when we start to decorate. But I think this is going to be where I'm at. Again, it's going to depend on how much paper I have left and how much bulk I've already created with the other pages. So we'll see. We shall see. But these are easy enough to lift off. Even if you tear your paper a little, it's going to get covered with designer paper. So nobody but you will know. Okay, so again, we have a flap that opens to the right and then a flap that opens to the left. And that is the design. In a few minutes, I'll be back with the design paper and we can actually start decorating page 2. And I have page 1 written here, but it's really page 2. I changed my sequence kind of late in the game. Okay, that's it for page 2. Be back soon. Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create. We're working on page 2. And I've got the A sides all cut and trimmed, so we're going to get those laid down. Then I'll take a quick break and I'll get the papers lined up for the B side. So let me tell you what I've got going on here. So this is from the 12 by 12 collection pack. So are the 2 striped ends, which are just the flip side of this pattern. So that's from the 12 by 12. And then instead of just doing a 1-inch strip down the side, I went ahead and planned for the whole inside of this first flap. And again, this is 12 by 12 and 12 by 12. And then this is from the Patterns and Solids. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and start on the inside since I have it open. I'll get my pick tool. I did not ink this. So let's do that first. And then we'll dry fit it before we take the tape off. Hope everybody's doing well. Julie has been out on a quick holiday and she's due back tonight. So for those of you that had been, and tonight is, I don't even know what the day is. It's Monday. I think today is the 27th, maybe the 28th. Anyways, those of you who've been waiting for Julie to get back to place your orders, she'll be back tonight around 5:30 p.m. Pacific Eastern Time. I'm sorry, Pacific Standard Time. And I don't know why, but I'm way off. I need to do some trimming and everything, so. I just inked my edges for no reason because I had to trim them. Okay, so 2 of these got to be inked again since I had to trim. I should have dry fit before I inked. Okay, and I'm just knocking off the white core. But you can distress inside your papers all you like. I don't do it, one, just because it's a personal preference. I just like to knock off the white core. But the other reason I don't do it is it just takes a lot of time, and I'm usually, anxious to get some content out for you guys. So if that's something you like, by all means, take the time to do it. It's just not something I want to spend time on so I can get my next project going sooner rather than later. Okay, very, very good. Let's go ahead and do this, which I have trimmed and inked, so that'll go even faster. Okay. Then we're going to put this here, and this is already trimmed and inked. Okay, and then to pull this pattern back in, we've got this. And I've already inked and trimmed this out, so it's just gonna fit right here. And there we go. I'm just using the hook tool to slightly tuck it behind the hinge so that when we flap the hinge, it's not going to pull our paper up. Okay, so you want it to be slightly under it. There we go. That is done. So I'm going to take a quick break, line up the B-sides, and I'll be back shortly. Hey everyone, it's Daphne, and I've got the B-side for page 2 trimmed out. And here's what I've decided. This is from the 8x8 collection pack. And you can tell, I think it is. Let me double check. I say that. And now I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm looking for the 12x12 so I can look at the scale of the pattern, but I think I've already cut through it. Nope, it's definitely from the 8x8 collection pack. All right, I try to remind myself as I'm going through, because I know it's hard to tell in the videos what size paper, and because I'm using a bundle, I've got everything. I've got the Patterns and Solids, the 12x12 collection pack, and the 8x8 collection pack. Okay, let's go. All right. Whoops. There we go. Okay, there is some words behind the floral pattern, so make sure you're paying attention to that when you're laying it down. Okay, and now we're going to do some color blocking here. And these red strips are from the Patterns and Solids, and this is from the 8x8 collection pack, and you can tell by the scale of the stripes. So this is from the 8x8 collection pack, and then the 2 side stripes are coming from the Patterns and Solids. So I've rough cut this, and this is going to be too wide, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down the outside edges and then trim the centerpiece to fit. And I think yeah, once I trim the centerpiece, we will have to ink it again, but the end piece is already trimmed. And I'm going to tell you, these they happen to be scraps that I had, so I'm just trimmed them to be the same size. It's 2 3/8. 2 3/8. So these happen to be 2 3/8 by 5 7/8. That's the size of these. So if you had 2 2-inch strips, that would work also. This just happened to be the size of the scraps that I had left over. Or of course you could just put a solid piece here. But I wanted to do a little color blocking just to make it a little more interesting. Particularly because we have this nice large simple pattern on the right hand side. So I thought adding a little interest here would be fun. Okay, now I'm going to lay this in and I'm going to make my marks and then trim this to fit. And so because it's really hard to get both of these in exactly straight, sometimes you might need to adjust the centerpiece so that it's not perfectly straight. And one of the ways I do that is putting a mark on both the top and the bottom. And then when I put it in my trimmer, I'm going to line up my 2 pencil marks to see if it's going in at a right angle or if I need to cut at a slight slant so that it fits in here perfectly with a perfect border. And it's actually pretty straight, so I'm pretty surprised, but it's very, yeah, pretty straight. So now that I know that it fits in here, I now know that I need to take off. I'm going to take off a little under 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to center it between these two, and then there'll be a little black stripe on either side. Let's take a look and see how I did. How's that look? Looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and ink it and we're going to put it down. I could probably have shaved off a little more, but I'm pretty happy with it, so I don't want to risk overcutting. That's the challenge with color blocking, is it's very easy to overcut. And then I can live with a border that's a little too tight, but if it's too wide, it really bothers me. And I think I mentioned it, but again, these are from the Patterns in Solid. This is from the 8x8 collection pack. The centerpiece that I'm laying down right now is from the 8x8 collection pack. See, doesn't that look nice? And now that sort of lends itself to putting, you could easily put a 4x6 photo here, and you have a little bit of the pattern peeking out. In fact, it says beautiful right on top. So that's nice. Or you could easily do, 2 smaller photos slightly overlapped. So just some things to consider. That is the inside, A and B sides. And see, that also pulls the pattern back in. This is the larger scale, this is the smaller scale. Okay, there we go. That's it for page 2. I'll be back soon.